Hello again everyone, and welcome back to another lore-filled episode. My name is Ricky, and thanks again for joining us. As you can tell by the title, we will be separating this particular post into two sections, as there are two prevalent sections in this post. This video will be covering the artwork and descriptions of Blitz cards that we expect to see in the near future. So without wasting any more time, let's get right into this. The first piece of art is the Banished Banshee. Its description is as follows. The earliest models of Banshees were fashioned after the Skillet, a leathery winged flying predator from the Sangheili homeworld Sanghelios. However, the Banished have since twisted their ancient ancestry to incorporate designs to detail more closely related to an aerial predator hailing from their own homeworld, Dosak. Many of the Banshees in Atriox's fleet have been modified with brutal and experimental weaponry, usually designed to inflict maximum damage from both a physical and psychological perspective. Next we have the Brute Warlord, also known as the Jiralhane Warlord. The description is as follows. Favored chieftains in Atriox's retinue have the unique opportunity to be promoted to the status of Warlord. Vicious agents positioned to intercede on the Banished leader's behalf to bring recalcitrant packs to heal and direct critical faction operations, answerable only to Atriox and Decimus. Warlords are no doubt feared by lesser brutes and hated by the Let Volaire's troops. Though none can deny the Warlord's loyalty or violent proficiency in culling the banished ranks of weaker links, indeed many prideful chieftain has forgotten who their work should be enriching, and have wound up on the receiving end of a Warlord's personally fashioned gravity hammer. Moving away from the incredibly intimidating Jiralhane, we now jump over to the Ungoi, otherwise more commonly known as Grunt Infantry. The description is as follows. Ungoi may not always be strong, brave, intelligent, hygienic, or even particularly fearsome warriors, but those pledged to serve the Banished have a healthy enough fear of their Jiralhane leaders to stay on task and motivated. Even if their fellows are used as target practice by bored brutes or disintegrated by foreigner sentinels, these seasoned survivors can at least look forward to a full food nipple and an occasional brief nap in the methane atmosphere they call home. Following the Ungoi are their more zealous cousins, the Suicide Ungoi, otherwise known as Suicide Grunts. However, even by just looking at the art, we can see that this phenotype we had been introduced to during 343's control on Halo, compared to the last image which was of Bungie's design. I thought it was just something nice to point out. The description for these zealous guys is as follows. Truly aggressive and violent grunts are rare, but without covenant oversight or the environmental hazards of Balaho to cull them from the population, the number of aberrant Ungoi has increased dramatically in Thrall colonies. The Banished have adapted existing indoctrination protocols to turn their aggression and natural cleverness of these legions to their own violent purposes. The Banished now out of the way, we move over to the UNSC, if you could even call this the UNSC anymore, as the art and description make it look as if it was a ditch effort to get the most amount of use out of it. The description is as follows. The Vulture is still currently officially the heaviest standard combat air unit the USC has to offer. But rest assured, there's nothing official about the Condor gunship. The imposing flying fortress is actually a repurposed and highly weaponized civilian dropship, while the Condor gunship does break a large number of UNSC weapon platform regulations. Its effectiveness in battle is truly undeniable. The G8-1 is a slow-moving but powerful craft armed with multiple pulse lasers and a light magnetic accelerator cannon, also known as MAC. All of which are capable of independently targeting enemy units. The pulse lasers offer a high rate of fire, making the Condor effective against mass units, while the MAC provides devastating burst damage for hard target elimination. Moving away from that jury-rigged ship, let's jump to another unsanctioned adaptation of a ship, the Nightingale. The description is as follows. The EV44 Nightingale is a dedicated support unit that uses its complement of multi-purpose restoration drones to repair allied units. Its relatively simple construction, aside from the advanced drone system, has made it adaptable for the Nightingale's design blueprint to the Spirit of Fire's older factory models. The Nightingale has no offensive abilities, lacking even a basic weapon system. However, the craft is equipped with various countermeasures to survive harrowing battlefield situations, including the ability to deploy multi-spectrum smoke screens and disposable jammers capable of camouflaging all the units within the target area. Now that we have finished up with the ships, we move on to infantry, specifically the well-known ODSTs. At least there are these are the ODSTs that are stationed on the Spirit of Fire. The description is as follows. Vigilant and venerable orbital drop shock troopers, also known as ODSTs, are elite soldiers eager to deploy into even the most dangerous battlefield to make quick work of the most opposing infantry units. Operating primarily as special forces raiding units of the Marines, ODSTs are deployed from the Spirit of Fire to tip the scales in a close battle, raid enemy bases, capture strategically valuable points, and eliminate high-value targets. These heroes have spent nearly 3 decades cut off from their calling and are more than eager to begin making up for lost time against the best that the Banished have to throw at them. Looks like I was wrong. We are jumping right back into the ships. The description for the Pelican gunship is as follows. Building upon the versatile foundation of the venerable D-77 frame, this G-77S Pelican is an impressive gunship designed cooked up by Isabel and the Spirit of Fire's engineers to help turn the tide of battle against the Banished forces on the Ark. The G-77S Pelican gunship boasts a powerful range of armaments, including top-mounted anvil missile pods, 4 payload hardpoints, a forward M370 chain gun turret, and multiple 12.7mm Vulcan cannons. Well, look at that. We are moving right back into infantry again. Who the hell wrote this script? It was me. I don't understand why people blame me. But moving back onto the video now, the description for the UNSC sniper is as follows. The Spirit of Fire sniper teams have traditionally operated in the background, serving as the true unsung heroes of many skirmishes and aerial strikes. Drawn from experienced Marine Force reconnaissance and Army cavalry scouts, snipers are experts at monitoring enemy movements and detecting cloaked units. Among the impressive array of weapons at their disposal, their signature suppressed anti-material rifles and the deadly stanchion portable rail cannon. Following the UNSC sniper, we arrive at Spartan Douglas. His description offers some insight as to why his armor looks the way it does, and as to Serena's whereabouts. The description is as follows. Hailing from an affluent family of the Asphodel colony, Douglas 042 had a tough time adjusting to the Spartan 2 program. However, in an initial bout of culture shock, his anger gave way to quiet confidence. Even among other Spartans, Douglas is considered something of a giant, and he soon came to believe he'd found a purpose in life. This faith in his destiny marks Douglas as an optimist by Spartan standards, and his hopefulness often lifts the spirits of his more cynical comrades. As core components of Mjolnir-powered assault armor cannot be replicated by the Spirit of Fire, the Spartans of Red Team must take advantage of Gen 2 parts recovered from UNSC outposts. Ingenious reverse-engineered solutions developed by Serena and deft modifications made by Isabel to stay in the fight. The amalgamation of these changes and Red Team's original Mark IV armor is resulting in completely new design perpetuations customized to the needs of each Spartan. The final piece of artwork we have is yet another ship. I guess I was trying to piss off future me quite a lot, because the current me is rather pissed that I'm jumping back and forth between infantry and ships. And I'm the one who did this to myself. The last piece of art is the well-known Hornet. The description is as follows. Hornets are versatile fast attack aerial gunships used for combat reconnaissance and surprise attacks on high priority targets. They're armed with medium autocannons that are effective against all targets and are particularly adept at taking out light vehicles. Typically, Hornets are comparatively fragile, relying primarily on their speed and versatility to make them a valuable tool in the field. However, the crew of the Spirit of Fire have also begun to use a variety of modified Hornet chassis, like the one seen here, with unique attributes in an attempt to gain any competitive edge available against the Banished. All of the artwork has been covered, and so we have finally reached the end of this part. Be sure to tune in for the second part when it is published, although before I end this video completely, I do have some final thoughts. Not only do we know that the Banished are jury-rigging any Covenant ships or technology that they can, but the crew of the Spirit of Fire are doing so as well. This in the end makes sense for the crew of the Spirit of Fire to do so. They have been put out of contact with the UNSC for an incredibly long time. Just to survive against a new threat, they have to adapt with anything they can get their hands on. It gives off the sense that they are struggling as they modify everything they can to maximize the effectiveness of it. We may never see these modifications being used by the baseline UNSC, though if it proves to be effective, you better expect the UNSC to try mass producing them. That is, if the Spirit of Fire can re-establish contact with the UNSC, Well, whatever is left of it after the ending of Halo 5. What do you guys think of these modifications? You enjoy them, dislike them, or pretty much don't care? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on anything and everything Halo.